He was last seen opening Christmas presents. Now police say a woman confessed to grinding his body in a trash compactor, and then she moved 2,000 miles away. A child missing for years. No sign of him, a family with no new answers. Hayden Mannis was 4 years old when his relatives last saw him on Christmas Eve 2019, opening presents at his great-grandmother's house. He was excited, happy. That was the last time. When Hayden left that night, he was with his father, Dustin Mannis, a man with a criminal history involving drugs and alcohol. Both of Hayden's parents had already lost custody of another child after testing positive for cocaine. Police once found Hayden and his father in a motel room littered with heroin. After that, Hayden went to live with his grandfather, Gary, who described him as a good kid with no trouble. But a judge ordered Hayden returned to his father after Dustin completed treatment. The grandfather begged the court not to give Hayden back. His plea was ignored. For months, Dustin sent reassuring texts to relatives. Everything is fine. Hayden is fine. We'll try to come to dinner. They never came. Visits stopped completely. And then years passed before anyone called police. In September 2024, nearly 5 years after Hayden was last seen by family, relatives grew suspicious and asked police to check on the boy. Officers found Dustin Mannis alive. They did not find Hayden. The story Dustin told did not add up. He claimed that the Department of Child Services had taken Hayden away years ago to live with his mother. Investigators disproved that lie quickly and easily. Hayden had not gone back into state custody. He had not gone to his birth mother. Dustin was not telling the truth. The prosecutor, Eric Hoffman, called the 4-year delay a huge hurdle. Detectives were working backwards, chasing a ghost. Then Dustin was arrested on new drug charges after police found him with heroin and meth. He spent a few weeks in jail, posted bond, and 4 days later died from a drug overdose. The prosecutor made one thing clear. The investigation did not die with Dustin. Police searched the last house where Hayden was known to be living, a property in Muncie shared by Dustin, his girlfriend Crystal Hall, and Crystal's parents. That house became the center of the investigation. Detectives removed evidence, including a section of flooring from a master closet. They brought cadaver dogs. They interviewed Crystal Hall and her family members before the family moved out of state. No one has been charged. No one has been named a suspect, but the prosecutor admitted Crystal Hall is a person of interest because she lived with Hayden and Dustin when the boy vanished. Meanwhile, the family heard disturbing stories about what may have happened inside that house. Relatives were told that Hayden had been locked in a closet for discipline. Some heard rumors of a dog cage. The grandfather of Hayden said he just hoped those stories were not true. The prosecutor would not release specific details, but described some facts of the case as haunting. Investigators have been trying to build a timeline. They know what did not happen, but figuring out what did happen has been far more difficult because years passed before anyone reported Hayden missing. The family now clings to old cell phone videos and pictures, the only proof that Hayden once existed. New tips obtained by investigators have shifted the timeline of Hayden's disappearance. The family last saw him on Christmas Eve 2019. Missing children posters listed January 2020 as his last known date, but witnesses came forward. A woman told police she saw Hayden at a go-kart track near Newcastle in late August 2020. A second person confirmed the sighting. That second witness was Paul Hall, the father of Crystal Hall and owner of the Muncie house where Hayden lived. Paul agreed to recorded phone interviews. He said Hayden called him Mr. Grandpa. He babysat the boys several times. He described Hayden as a smiley child with some behavioral challenges, but otherwise normal and adjusted. When asked about the day Hayden stopped living at his property, Paul said Dustin told him the boy's mother had a DNA test and took Hayden. Paul admitted he did not find that story odd at the time. Now, it torments him every day. He said it was his job to protect that little boy, but he never thought he would have to protect Hayden from his own father. Paul Hall described the day police searched his home. He watched investigators take a small section of floor from the master closet in the part of the house where Hayden, Dustin, and Crystal lived. He said he felt absolutely sick because he knew deep down something bad had happened there. Paul also confronted Dustin after a family member reported that Hayden was being kept in a dog cage. Paul searched and found no cage, but he believed the story might have been confused with something else. Dustin putting Hayden in a walk-in closet as punishment. Paul said that was still unacceptable. He admitted he failed that little boy. The prosecutor responded harshly. If Paul knew something, he had a duty to act, and he failed miserably. Paul then talked about his own daughter, Crystal. He said he had never seen her act violently. He claimed he would turn her in himself if he thought she had anything to do with Hayden's disappearance. But when asked directly whether he had asked Crystal what she knew, Paul admitted he had not. He said he would ask. Weeks later, he still had not. We asked Paul repeatedly to ask his daughter one simple question. Does she know what happened to Hayden? Each time he said he would. Each time he did not. Finally, he admitted there might be a part of him that did not want to know the answer. He said Crystal had no desire to talk to anyone about the case. She told him that anyone wanting information would have to get it from police. Paul said he did not agree with her decision. He did not understand why she would not speak. Meanwhile, Paul showed investigators damage inside the part of the house where Hayden had lived. Holes in walls, broken doors. Damage he discovered only after Dustin moved out. He said he did not know how he missed the obvious fits of violence that went through there. The prosecutor later confirmed that both Paul and Crystal had provided inconsistent and conflicting information to detectives. Crystal was officially named a person of interest. The prosecutor would not call her a suspect, but said it would not make sense for her not to be a person of interest, given that she lived with Hayden at the time of his disappearance. We attempted to contact Crystal Hall for months. Phone calls, voicemails, texts, a written list of detailed questions sent by mail. She did not respond, so we flew 2,000 miles to Nevada, where Crystal and her family had recently moved. We drove through the desert, through the mountains, to a small town. We found her. The conversation was brief. When asked to help explain what happened to Hayden, she said she was not talking. When asked if she knew whether Hayden was alive or dead, she refused to answer. She said she had already worked with police and was not obligated to say anything more. She claimed she had information about the case that she was not going to risk divulging. She walked away. But multiple sources close to the investigation told us what Crystal told police. According to those sources, who agreed to speak only anonymously, Crystal Hall admitted that Hayden Mannis is dead, and she said she disposed of his body in a trash compactor at a truck stop where she used to work. We confirmed that Crystal worked at several truck stops between 2020 and 2023, including locations in Spiceland and Marion. A former coworker named Amber Roberts spoke with us. Amber was a co-manager with Crystal at a Flying J truck stop. She remembered Crystal as professional and put together at first. They were both young mothers trying to support their families, but in late summer 2020, Crystal and Dustin suddenly stopped showing up for work. A few weeks later, Amber noticed something else. The dumpster area behind the truck stop began to smell like death. She had worked there for 4 years. She knew what normal truck stop trash smelled like. This was different. It was worse. The smell lasted for weeks. Amber said she did not want to believe it at the time. She did not even know Hayden was missing. But looking back, she said the only explanation was that the smell came from a body. She believes it was Hayden. Around that same time, Crystal returned to work a few shifts. Amber described her as quiet, stressed, angry, disheveled. Then Crystal demanded a transfer out of nowhere. She left and never worked there again. When we asked Crystal directly whether she told police she disposed of Hayden's body, she denied it, but multiple sources insist she did. The prosecutor would not confirm or deny the confession. He cited the ongoing investigation. A legal analyst explained why a confession alone might not lead to an arrest. In Indiana, there is a legal principle called corpus delicti, the body of the crime. Police cannot charge someone based only on their own words. They need other evidence that a crime actually occurred. Disposing of a body in a trash compactor would be felony abuse of a corpse, but without physical evidence, without Hayden's remains or forensic proof from the house, prosecutors may be stuck. Police did remove flooring from that closet. They are waiting for lab results. So far, no charges have been filed. No one has been named a suspect. The prosecutor said the only thing he knows with certainty is that he has not seen Hayden alive and has not seen Hayden's body. The family is left with nothing but questions. Hayden Mannis would be 10 years old now. No birthday parties. No celebrations. His grandfather still asks the same question every day. The prosecutor says investigators have hit a wall but are trying to climb over it. The family has heard stories of abuse, of a closet used for punishment, of a trash compactor, and a terrible smell, but no one has been held accountable. The 4-year delay between Hayden's disappearance and the first police report remains the biggest obstacle. Physical evidence may have been lost. Witness memories have faded. The father who held the answers is dead. The girlfriend who may have confessed has moved 2,000 miles away and refuses to speak. Investigators urge anyone with information to come forward. A reward is now being offered. The case is not closed, but for Hayden's family, every day without an answer is another day of not knowing whether the boy they loved died alone, in pain, in a house where no one was watching. Somebody knows the truth. The question is whether they will ever tell it.